Okay, please. You have
No,
your...
but it says you are the host, so I need
Yeah,
permission from you. So I
yeah,
think you
yes,
need to.
please. Okay, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait
But
a minute.
you need to enable it on
Yes,
Zoom. That's what I mean.
wait a minute. Okay, I'll put you as a co-host, Pelumi.
Okay, let me see. Yeah, perfect.
Okay, so, okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everybody. Good morning, Pelumi from London. And good afternoon, Adwait from India. And good afternoon, everybody from Indonesia. So welcome to our discussion. Yeah, it is our regular discussion from Critical Circle. We always held a regular discussion to respond any current issues around us, not only local or regional issues, but also international issues. And today we have a quite interesting topic, interesting issue to discuss that maybe some people do not realize that it is a quite important and serious issues to discuss. Maybe, for example, in Indonesia, we see that the government or many policymakers focus on political issue only, while in the same time, actually we are facing a very serious problem that relate to the future of our young generations in the next time. So that's why we think that we need to discuss this. We need to find solution. We need to discuss what should we do, whether you are as a student or you are a teacher or you are as a common people or maybe you as the parents, because yeah, it comes to all people, whether you have children or not, whether you have students or not. Each of us has responsibility to think about this one. And yeah, we have a great speakers here. Thank you very much for the speakers who want to spend your time in your tight schedule to come here, join with us, share your information and knowledge for all of us here. So we have three great speakers here. First of all, we have Tatiana. She comes from Russia, and we are still waiting for her joining here. And the second one, we have Atmait. He is founder and executive director for Fardisnu Social Research and Development Society India. And we have Pelumi Federe. Sorry, correct me if I wrong to pronounce your name. So she is the instructor of Global Citizen Year from the UK. So guys, we think that we need to hear any update from other countries. So that's why I mean, the Critical Circle invite these great speakers to share their experience dealing with this issue, because we think and we swear that these speakers have a great experience and information that maybe can be beneficial for us here. Okay, so before we start the discussion, I will give opportunity for Mrs. Susan first to give welcoming speech to the speakers and to participants. Time is yours, please.
Thank you, Yayu. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Everybody, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining with us. And thank you for the speakers. We have 3 speakers here, and we feel so great to have all of you here. And I thank, and special thank you for the speakers because they share their time with us and their knowledge experience with us. And as we know, since WHO announced the pandemic the global pandemic, everything was stopped, including education. School shut down and college closed. Student stay at home, and teacher they taught from the home, their home. And this is very difficult for us, for the students and their parents. It's very stressful situation because school is not about learning. School is not only about lessons, but also about make a friends, also about playing around, and also about their social relationship. So it's very stressful for the student, and also stressful for the parents because the parents has to accompany their children when they have to doing their homework, so it's very difficult for the parents. And also we have internet network issues here in Indonesia. Internet network is not spread evenly in Indonesia, and of course about lack of devices. So many children and parents doesn't have um, they don't have devices like a cell phone or laptop or another devices to go online. So it's very difficult situation for the parent and the student, and we face the challenge about our generation, our ability of our students. So it's I think it's global issues that we have to face today. Thank you very much for the participants. I hope this discussion very meaningful for us and become a spirit for us to through this hard situation together. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Mbak Sisin, Mrs. Sisin, as the founder of Critical Circle. So I wanna give one point that why we decide to discuss this issue, because we see in Indonesia there are many serious problems happen, such as a mother. For Indonesian participants, you can see on television that there was a mother who killed her daughter just because the daughter failed to do the exercises from the school. So yeah, we were hopeless to respond this kind of issue, and let us hear what is happening from other countries. So we have Pelumi and Adwait. Who gonna be the first? Can I give the first opportunity to Adwait first? Are you ready, Adwait?
Yeah, sure.
Okay,
Palumi, is
so
it okay?
Of course. Go ahead.
Yes, thanks.
okay, because because it is so early there, Palumi. So I give you time to take a breath a moment. Okay, Atwait, time is yours. You can introduce yourself, your profile, your organization. It's time is yours. Okay, please.
Yes, thank you. Thanks a lot. Just give me a minute to share my
Yes.
screen. So I hope this is visible.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. First of all, heartfelt gratitude to Tree and the Critical Circle team to invite us and give us an opportunity to share with the rest of the world what is happening and what are basically the challenges and the opportunities of online learning system. So I am representing Vardishnu. We are a 7-year-old not-for-profit started in 2013 with a vision that one day every child will have a safe, secure, and a happy childhood. So we run some community interventions in the state where I live uh, for specifically street children, for those who collect rag, for those who work as a child labor, and these are basically the children who are considered as a come from the segment of the poorest of the poor of the families. So what I would think when I was thinking about this topic and thinking about what are the opportunities and the challenges, so I thought that I'll talk about more from the perspective of data, which is currently available online from the government's website, so that it have an authenticity and we can understand the issue more correctly. So before I go into the session or start with the challenges, let me just give you some of the facts. So the first case of COVID-19 was registered in on 31st of January 2020 in one of the city in the state of Kerala. Uh, in next one and a half month,
Can you hear him, or it's only me?
Yeah, we cannot hear.
Okay,
We cannot hear
it's
him.
internet.
Hello, Adwait. Are you okay? Okay, it seems that he has a problem. So can I give the next opportunity to you first, Pelumi?
Yeah, it's a pity that he's gone, or maybe
Yeah.
because of Wi-Fi. But yeah.
While we are waiting for Adwait to get back here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, please.
Okay.
Time is yours.
Yeah. I'm sorry for that. Anyways, thank you everyone. As I said, good morning, good afternoon. I hope you're doing well, and thank you for this opportunity to share the experience here in the UK. I hope that the information I'll be sharing will be useful, or mostly the recommendations that I have in mind will be useful for the situation in Indonesia. Of course, every country is different, so you cannot compare two countries because the contexts are different. And I'm very sad to hear the story Rai, who has just shared with us this morning. I think it's very tragic and unfortunate. So I'll first present myself, and then I'll follow the questions Rai you shared with me, just to give me like a guideline. I do not have a presentation, but I hope that the things I will say will be easy to follow anyways. So I am Pelumi, as Rayu has presented me. I'm currently a master's student. I'm studying international development at Georgetown University in the US, but as you know, I am in the UK, so I am also studying online. So I can definitely share my experience as a student. And then on the other hand, I am an instructor at Global Citizen Year, which is like an online academy that aims to teach young people from around the world from different backgrounds. We have a lot of countries represented in the cohort, and we teach them about global citizen education. So, we know that the future leaders that we want for our countries need new understanding of, our complex system and complex societies and the issues that we're facing. And we know that the typical learning they get in school is a bit outdated, it's traditional. So the idea is to give them the support and the resources that can make them critical thinkers and better leaders in the future when they get into leadership positions. So as I said, this is also online because we have all our students coming from different countries around the world. So the only way we can accommodate them, of course, is to study online. And given the pandemic, we can't, of course, have in-person classes. So my hope is to share my perspective as a student and also as an instructor slash teacher, doing online teaching, remote teaching, and remote learning. So when it comes to what I do besides that, I also have a YouTube channel where I talk about mostly education and opportunities to study abroad. It's called Ninja Inspiration. And the idea there is to just share information and share tips about how to study abroad and how to get scholarship to fund your studies abroad if you're interested in that. And then I also co-founded an organization called Applic Aid, which means application aid. So we help you through an idea of mentorship. So we have mentors, people who have had scholarships before, and they help you in your applications towards getting your scholarship if you want to study in another country. And the idea here is to just help people who are passionate, that have the talent but need just support in their application, to get the necessary support and better understanding of how the scholarship application works. So you can visit applicate.org to get more information about that. And if you have any more questions about study abroad scholarship funding, don't hesitate to reach out to me through RAU. So yeah, thank you for that. So regarding Yeah, the challenges of studying online, right? As a student, I think what I would say will not be different from what most of you are experiencing if you're studying online. In this case, it's just, I see, three main elements, right? The physical fatigue, because you're constantly facing a Zoom call. And that's not only that's physically tiring and also very maybe damaging to your eyes, as you all know. And I think the other lady that spoke before also mentioned it. It's the mental or maybe emotional part where you are maybe isolated or just away from your friends and from people that make your learning experience more joyful, right? So the lack of connection with people that you normally would be able to connect with, through physical encounter, being able to do your homework with your classmates, just being able to have that discussion. And I believe that depending on the type of learner you are, that can really impact your learning process. So for example, I am someone who loves to learn as a part of a community. I love to learn with people, not only reading a book or listen to audio or listen to recorded videos of the session, but rather discuss the ideas with other classmates. So that way I can assimilate the knowledge better. And the fact that I don't have that time to, besides Zoom, to connect with my classmates, talk about issues that I'm facing or what I understand, what I don't understand, it kind of could limit the learning process. And then the third one would just be the fact that if you're not very self reliance, you don't have like discipline, it can be really difficult to just assimilate what you are learning, because it depends on you to learn, because you don't have that physical support from your teachers or from your classmates, which can also be difficult to your learning process. And of course, what has been said before, internet connection is definitely an issue also, with my cohorts coming from different countries around the world. And also regarding my teaching, as I was saying, as an instructor, the issue we face mostly is the fact that many students connect, but it's hard for them to follow the classes because of the digital device. Some people have access to internet, some people's internet is not as strong as it should be. So it makes the classes a bit difficult to follow. It makes it hard for the student to fully engage and to be fully active when learning, which then of course can lead to demotivation, and then eventually just student maybe wanting to drop out because they feel frustrated or just tired from the whole online learning process, right? It feels like you can't escape this because you can only meet people online, and there is no way for you to enjoy or to have a diverse learning experience. So what I wanted to share as a good news sort of regarding where I'm teaching is that we understand the challenges of online learning, and I believe that maybe this is something that could be considered in Indonesia, but not only Indonesia, in any country around the world, or schools particularly, is to kind of re-examine their learning process, their learning engagement tips, and their learning platforms. So we know that Zoom is the main source for instruction nowadays because everybody has chosen that as a default, but there are also other learning platforms that exist that kind of enable not only better connection, but also they focus on active learning. And what I mean by active learning is that the student is at the core of what they're teaching, right? So the student needs are placed first over just the learning objectives or the learning goals of the day. So for example, with this Global Citizen Year, what they use is called Minerva platform, which is a platform that was created to basically activate this idea of active learning, where the needs of the students are placed first. And whatever we do as instructors, we make sure that the students are following through, they're fully engaged, and they're the ones actually teaching. Not that they do the teaching themselves, but we give them the floor to always participate and to be always ready to, give input. And that way we make sure that they're engaging in what we're discussing. And also the materials we try to provide for them are very, in line with the current issues, and enables them to have critical thinking and allows them to not only study things that they would be bored from because they don't see it to be applicable to what is happening to them or what they're actually doing or what they want to do in their lives, but rather, make them learn, for example, I teach a course called Complex Systems. So with COVID, how did that, not exactly asking how that happened, but the impact on this on our lives and our society around the world. And then there is another course on leadership. Okay, how can you understand yourself as an agent of this society, as a leader, things that will actually help them when they actually have to go to the job market to be more competent and to just be, better workers in the future and better leaders in the future, not just focusing on outdated materials that, is not useful anymore. Especially in this online context, if you continue teaching students, materials that are just outdated and does not, kind of like interest them or doesn't empower them to want to engage in learning, it will be difficult for them to feel integrated or to feel accepted into this, online learning system. So I think that the focus has to be shifted from the materials and the fact that we just want to teach students mathematics or languages or whatever it is that they teach in the school, and depending on the curriculum, but rather what is the need of the future? What are the things that students will need when they get to the job market that will be applicable to them when they actually, have to work, and the knowledge they have would be in line with the skills they have to gain, right? Yeah, so that would be regarding the learning itself. I don't know if there are any questions while I'm speaking or how this is supposed to be, but let me know, please, because I'm just speaking, but if there's any feedback, definitely let me know. So when it comes to specifically the UK, in the UK, the COVID cases are continuously rising up. So unfortunately, what's going on is we have about 344,000, above that, total cases. And in the recent, let's say, week, it is rising to about 1,813 approximately. I'm giving this data about a week ago. And basically, I can give you the trend in Europe as a whole, right? Schools are opening up, yes. Of course, they were locked down before, when every country decided to close down the schools and also the borders, I think, as Adwait was saying, as every country was doing. So children, of course, were learning from home. And of course, you could see the difficulties that, parents had to become the teachers for their own children, and juggling that with work is a bit difficult because some parents are just they're not teachers, right? So it's not easy to become a teacher when you're not one, right? And have the patience. So, but right now, the good news is that children are back to school. I have two little sisters and they're going back to school. But also, I believe that it's also up to the parents to decide if they believe their children are ready for school in terms of, do they have any underlying illnesses or things that could, be worse because of corona or contact with other people. So the school has given the possibility for children, for parents to decide, but normally school and children should be going back to school, and they are. And what they're doing and implementing right now is the idea of like bubbles. And what they mean with bubbles is that you can only mingle and associate with people from your class. So they have like very strict rules in the sense that, of course, sanitation, cleaning, ventilation, social distances, face covering is a must, and segmentation, of course, just to keep people safe. But also, what my sister is, so getting this firsthand experience with my little sisters, is that they feel like, they can't fully enjoy the experience because there is a lot of rules. You have to be on the line, do this, do that. There is no flexibility. Even when you want to play with other students, it has to be people from your same cohort, because the idea is to avoid the spread of the virus. So mostly, yeah, that's in terms of primary and secondary schools. And for universities, they're currently actually opening up right now. So not all of them are open, but every country has a different policy, I would say, in Europe. But most of it is aligned with this idea of self-isolation if necessary, and then, maintaining all the rules and regulation regarding safeguarding. So, ventilation, as I said, social distancing. And definitely they try to really, I can see that the schools, they're trying their best to really, help the students also assimilate to this new learning environment, which they're not used to. I don't know as to, how every school is doing it, but I think that not only in the UK, but anywhere in the world, there should be a focus on also how to help students reintegrate into this new environment. Because before, what we know at school has changed, right? Before, you would never think of, I have to distance myself from someone just to talk, just to even say hello. But now we've moved through like maybe, depending on the person, maybe this traumatic phase of learning online and being tired and frustrated and feeling lonely and feeling that, you're not gaining anything from just being on Zoom 24 hours, to now, okay, you're back to school, but not as before. So I think that there should be a lot of supports available for students to be able to just, have counseling, either mentor support or whatever necessary for them to just feel like, okay, this is a new system, but we understand you. And the teachers also should be more flexible when it comes to the students, even though I feel that, in the schools here, they're more strict, I have to say that, which can also be a bit stressful for students who are just, coming back from this new world that they didn't expect and they didn't ask for, right? So yeah, that would be it regarding the UK and Europe in general. Ryu, should I continue, or is there, I can't
Okay.
hear you.
Okay, just use your time as you want. It's okay because we just have two speakers. You still have
Okay.
time.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you for that. And as I said, if you have questions, do let me know. So the other one you said about the question, I think it was about infrastructure and internet growth. So when it comes to infrastructure, I do believe in the UK, the schools have been really preparing for this incoming intake of the students during this fall semester. So what they've done is to really, install, sanitation stands, so with the gels, and the more attention is given to cleaning of hands and things like that. So they have definitely created more facilities so that it's easy to navigate through this difficult process. So I do think that that's a positive thing, and it's very good because it allows the social distancing to be easier. But of course, I think that it's just more time is used on these things that would be normally banal in a normal life. But now in the post-COVID or COVID, it's still maybe COVID time, it's still a bit difficult. And regarding the internet use, of course, that has grown a lot because everyone is on Zoom and mostly on calls right now. And I think, as you said about, the digital bridge or just the divide, it depends on the family, right? This is where we see the how divided the society is, right? I think I don't have to say this, but everybody knows that COVID has definitely accentuated, the fact that, whoever has the opportunities will have access to learning, and who doesn't have it, unfortunately, will be more limited. So definitely, the thing I do like here is that the school try to support. So if you are in school, they do give you access to like maybe computers or just resources that can be useful for you to engage in your learning. But of course, once you get home or in your household there is maybe only one computer, it's definitely hard, because then how do you learn? How do you engage in this online learning, if you don't have even the basic stuff you need to learn, right? So I think if you think of countries that are also battling with this, it would be up to the government to actually provide these resources, or at least the municipality or the district, to make sure that everyone definitely has access to these important tools, because without this, how do you learn, right? It's almost impossible. And then I think I already mentioned the impact that I saw, that I experienced as a person, and also I think in students that are learning online, is definitely the motivation. It decreases a lot, and definitely the mental health, and then you just also being able to divide your online learning time to just your physical, your personal time. Like, it's hard for you to just disconnect from being online, because everything now is online. Even when you have to go out with your friends, sometimes you're going to be online, let's meet and do something. Oh, we're meeting online. And that definitely takes away from the experience of socializing with people, because it doesn't give you that opportunity to just, engage in a normal way and in a more enjoyable way. So in terms of the recommendation, so just based on what we do with the Global Citizen here, as I said, on the online platform Minerva, what we do a lot, as I said, is to really focus on the needs of the students, right? We know that this is a very difficult time for them. So instead of just focusing on, oh, we are trying here to fulfill these learning goals and these learning objectives, what we want is the student to properly engage and to properly assimilate what they're learning. So, also reducing the sessions into, condensed, maybe 40 to 1 hour, 30-minute classes, so that they don't feel overwhelmed and tired after, so many classes. And the idea is to, make them active participants, engaging in the material, give them prompts, give them motivation to, continue learning, and that, asking questions, not feeling shy, trying to motivate them to have their cameras on. Sometimes it's possible, sometimes it's not. Some students also, because they know that they have the live recording, they can always be, let's say, having limited attention online, because they're like, I can watch it later. But most of them, of course, it's hard for you to watch later, because things happen, time goes away, you don't have time. So you start losing your learning experience, right? And we know that attention is an issue, because even for all of us, right, as people, sometimes even to maintain your attention for more than 10-15 minutes on something that's boring can be really challenging, right? So the key is to make the learning and the materials interesting, and as I said, current to what is going on. and something that is applicable, that they see that there is a usefulness into what they're learning, and it's not just I'm learning this for the sake of learning, but rather I'm learning this because this is related to what I want to do in my future, even though I don't know how, but this will help me to become a better worker in the future and provide me with the skills that I need as a student and as a worker in the future. So yeah, that would be it from my side.
Okay, thank you, Palumi. So, okay, we have Adwait again here. Adwait, are you here?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so I will give the time back to you,
Sure.
please.
Thank you. Yes, thanks a lot. And extremely sorry for the inconvenience. I mean, somehow I just lost the internet connectivity. So I
Okay,
guess now I've shared the screen. Is it visible?
yes.
Yes. So uh, let me just start from the beginning. The first case was registered on the 31st of January 2020 in India. And since then, the momentum was continuously building. So on the 16th of March, the government regularized the schools to temporarily shut down their operations. And on 22nd March, we had a one-day nationwide lockdown, and international flights got cancelled until the next order. And from 25th of March, we went into the phased lockdown. So we had about 4 phases of lockdown between 25th of March to 31st of May, where there was restrictions about on intrastate travel. People cannot come together or gather, conduct any sort of a social function, political, religious function. And from June 1st, the government started issuing the regulations for which is called as an Unlock 1. Uh, Economy was completely standstill between all those period. People were facing financial crunches, so there was on the other hand a need to restart the operations step by step, so that it won't affect much on the economy. Though our GDP was minus 29% for the last quarter. So we are in the phase 4 of the unlock right now. And as of 25th of September, we have about 5.82 million COVID cases. We are second in the world after USA. Every day we are having about 80 to 90,000 cases and 2 to 3,000 deaths throughout the country. About 4.70 lakh million people have already recovered, and we have seen about 92,000 plus counting deaths in last couple of months. So these are some of the facts about the COVID. Now let's look at some of the facts about the topic which we are going to discuss further. So in terms of education, India have the second largest schooling system with about 1.5 million schools in which 250 million children are enrolled. So now with this we have 3 types of schools in India. Well, first one are the government schools. The second are the government school, private schools, but which are government aided. So government gives aid grants to these schools to partially manage their expenses. And then we have private schools. How the schools are divided? So we have about 72% government schools, we have 5.5% government aided private schools, and we have 26% private schools which are completely unaided by the government, which are run on the fees collected from the parents of the students. So when we see that we have about 70 to 75% of government plus government aided school, uh, it it is quite visible that maybe a larger chunk of the Indian children are dependent on the government schooling system for their education. Whereas the fact is the 22% private sector caters to 40% children, whereas 75% government schools cater to only 60% of the children. And this is the data collected from the Ministry of Human Resource and Development Department of the Government of India. Now, when the COVID started and schools were closed, both of this sector responded differently to the situation. So let's look at one by one about how the private sector reacted to the COVID. So the people who usually go to the private school are come from the children from middle class, upper middle class, and elites. The fees varies from according to the type of infrastructure a school is providing, city in which the school is located, and the school varies from basically $1,000 a year to 10 to 15,000 a year dollar per year. Now, when lockdown happened, these schools immediately started online classes. Children were forced to sit in front of their laptops and their computers for about 4 to 5 hours a day. Teachers were actively calling parents to make sure that children are attending the sessions, they are collecting the presentee. The presentee is being shared with the parents of the schools. And we also see a huge surge in the usage of the online learning platforms such as Byju's and Unacademy. These are the apps and the web hosting, which basically shares the online sessions, very well furnished sessions, look like a high class Hollywood movie with the graphics and the things which are being used in the $1 million movie per se. Now, interestingly, this Byju and Unacademy charge about 10,000 of cost of about $1,000 to $5,000 per year per child. So the basic, so we can easily see that the people who can afford to pay such kind of a fees also, of course, they also started the crash courses to make sure that they are covering larger topics in a very small period of time. But the people who can afford to pay their children, for them, the education continued. The education kept going. Now, let's see about what happened to the government sector. Now, who goes to the government sector? These are the children who come from the economically disadvantaged background, who lives in the rural and the tribal parts of the country, who attend the government schools, which are day schools, and some of them are residential schools. Very well, very good schools providing quality education, not only on focusing on the infrastructure in which they conduct the sessions. Now, when this COVID started, what happened is some of the teachers from the government schools were given a responsibility to go door by door to collect the data about the active COVID patients, because we had seen that there is a sort of a taboo related to the COVID right now, that people are not coming out openly to say that yes, I have been infected with the COVID and I need to go to the get the medical treatment. So these teachers given the responsibility to go door to door and collect the data for some time. Government also started strengthening the apps, which is the Diksha is one of the online platform run by the government of India, which have the all state boards curriculum in there, and which provides an educational which have the host educational content and is available to free of cost to all of the children. The government also used the local language regional language channel. So like in Maharashtra, we talk Marathi. So the government of Maharashtra coordinated and collaborated with the local regional challenge to run the academical program. So they published a schedule from standard 1 to 10th every day, every one particular lecture about the one particular topic. They used radio also. Some of the government teachers also, like we can see in the painting, which is a photo which is on our right hand, they painted the outer side walls or the walls in their villages to make sure that the children are keep learning. As I said, that we are in the phase 4 right now. It looks like the schools will not reopen till 15th of November in India. And we are not even sure that whether they will be open after that, because the rising cases of the COVID. So for the government education system, there were certain challenges. But now when we come out to the online learning, India have a long way to go. And now let me quote the data collected from the National Sample Survey published in 2017-18 by the Government of India. Only 24% Indians owns the smartphone. Even those, only 11% of the household possess any type of a computer, whether it's a desktop or a laptop. Now we are talking about children attending online classes for 5 to 5 hours every day. They cannot look at this 5-inch screen of the tablet or the mobile. They need a laptop. They need a device in front of them from which they can sit in at least a substantial distance, so that they will not damage their eyes, because we have seen that there are increasing cases of children complaining eye problems, and which has been documented. Now, only 24% Indian households have an active internet facility. This amount also reduces when we talk about the poorest households. These are the children who goes into the private school. These are the children who are 60% population of the current school going children. Only 2.7% have access to computer, and 8.9% have access to the internet facilities. This also, now the internet facility like Indonesia is not spread evenly. We can look at the photo which is in the right hand. The photo was clicked in one of the tribal villages, where the girl she lives in a tribal village. There was no internet connectivity, so she have to walk the hill to get the internet signal. And it was the monsoons in India, so her brother built a small shed for her on the top of the hill so that she can sit and she can learn. Now, with this, what happened is, for most of the Indian students, education stops completely. Why was it? The first one was because, as I said, that lack of the resources. Not many children have the computers, smartphones, active internet connection. Their parents do not have the money, because there is no livelihood available for about 3.5 months for the people who works in an unorganized sector. Then if you talk about the geography, unlike internet, about 46% of the Indian household who lives in the rural area receives electricity for only 8 hours a day. So 54% are living in even less of the electricity available to them. Now, when the lockdown happened, and as most of the population is basically segregated, concentrated in metro cities, they started remigrating to their villages. I'm just taking an example that it is quote that the migration happened post the partition of India and Pakistan was the biggest ever in the history of humankind. Now, according to some of the statistics, the migration happened post lockdown was even bigger than that. If we talk about a city of Mumbai, which is a financial capital of India, it is assumed that 20% people migrated back to their villages. Now, Mumbai's population is about 2 crores, which is 20 millions. Now, if we say that 20% people migrated back to their village, it means we're talking about 4 million people. And it was not the case of Mumbai; it was the case of throughout the India. So, what about the children who migrated with their parents to their villages? Then it was also about the mindset and the priorities of the parents. Now, when there was no food at home to live, to feed, children were forced to beg on the streets and work as the laborers. And when we look at all of these things, it is clearly not about the access, it is about the privilege. It is about the socio-economical condition in which you are born into. It decides whether you will get the education or you will not get the education. Now, where it leads? In the state of Kerala, between 25th March to the 11th July, 66 children committed suicide. According to some of the statistics, there are 300 suicides committed by the children in past 6 months post the lockdown. Why this happens? Majority of children took their life at the very tender age of 8, 9 or 10 because they do not have the infrastructure to attend online education. Some of the children committed suicide, like in the city where I live, a 16-year-old girl took her life because she had no food to feed her younger brothers. Where it is leading to, I mean, according to an article published in a Maid, out-of-school children are likely to double in India post-COVID lockdown. There is 20% increase in girl lockdown. 33% girls are missing online classes in Delhi, according to the Education Minister of Delhi State of Delhi, which is the capital of India. Now, the child line, which is a line to support the children who are in distress, claimed that they received 92,000 calls in just 1 week of the lockdown. The Post that, usually they get average 2 lakh calls. Post that 1 week, they used to get about 3 lakhs call a week for the from the children, or from the people who are basically calling childline to support the children who are in stress. A porn hub, which is a porn site, recorded that there is a 2% hike in the people searching for child pornography in India in the first week of the lockdown. The cases called to the childline recorded said that 20% were regarding protection from the abuse and 5% regarding child marriages. In India, the legal age for a girl uh, is 18 and for a boy is 21. But there were cases where the girls were forced to get married at the age of 14, 15, or even 13. This is what is happening. This is what it leads to. And now let's look at the children. This is all we talked about, the children who were already part of the education system. What happened in India is that we immediately started talking about online education, but to forget a very critical fact that there are almost 4.3 million child laborers according to the census of 2011 published by the government of India. These 4.3 million children, majority of them are not even part of the education system. Now, when we talk about the schools, even Fellomi and the previous, basically the founder of the Critical Circle, very clearly said that schools do not only provide the academics, or they are not about the sessions. For most of the children, they are the safest place. For most of the children, they provide an equal opportunity. Now, what about these children? We work with out of school children in the state of Maharashtra. We know that it takes months to get them to the informal learning centers, and even have inculcated an habit to sit at a place. These children do not have smartphones. These children don't, education is not a priority. And now we have completely missed out this chunk, which is a very big chunk. And according to some of the stats, I said that there are about 250 million children are learning in the schools. According to some statistics, about 1 crore, which is about 10 million, will be dropped out, which is an official statement. But according to the very reputed organizations, the number could be between 40 to 50 million. This is the problem which we are talking about. Now, what is the way ahead? I mean, what we can do? This is the problem we have. We cannot say that as the many children are not privileged enough to receive the quality education, the private sector will say that then should we stop the education for the others also? This is not going to happen. So what is the way ahead? There have been some instances where people have started distributing tablets and the smartphones to the children living in the community so that they can attend the sessions. This also talked a very immense need about the community interventions, the community intervention specifically catering to the economically disadvantaged people. Schools need to collaborate with the local NGOs and community leaders to track out of school children. As I have mentioned, that many children have already went to the villages. Many children have already gone to the places where their parents live, and there are very few chances that they will come back to the metro cities. So we need to trace these children and make sure that they are becoming a part of the education system. Now, there is also need to support low cost or free of cost online interventions. Like some of my friends started a V-School platform, which is an online learning platform, which have the academical session from standard 1 to standard 10 available to free of cost. Now they piloted this in one of the districts in Maharashtra, and they have for about 500,000 users in the first week of the intervention. And this is the recorded users. In A, we have seen that 4 to 5 children use one smartphone because lack of the infrastructure available. So the number could be even higher. So we need to support this sort of an intervention in the upcoming days. I mean, the COVID has really changed the reality in which we all live. It has been said, it has been talked a lot about. As I said, it's not the question about where we are right now, but the question is where we are heading. Mahatma Gandhi, sometime about 70 years ago, gave us a talisman where he said that we need to think about the poorest of the poor before we take any step, and ask ourselves that will it help in gaining control of his or her own life. Well, in what we have learned in past 6 months is that we have not think of them at all. So the schools, again, the schools are not about only education, they are about developing social skills that help in reducing disparities. We have seen that disparity, the financial disparity, religious disparity, and we are going to witness the educational disparity. So if we learn anything from this pandemic and went back to the poorest of the poor, hold their hand and take them into this circle, this has given us an opportunity to basically redefine the social structures in which we live and in which we would like to raise our kids. So if we learn anything for the pandemic, then I think we deserve to be sustained. Otherwise, we deserve to be doomed. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity and listening to me very patiently. Thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you very much, Adwait. Are you sure? Maybe you wanna tell us more about the agenda of your organization, maybe?
Sorry, can you please repeat?
You still have time for a couple seconds. Maybe you want to tell us about the activity of your organization, maybe?
Sure. So we have two programs. The one is called as Anandgar, which literally means into a home of happiness. So these are the community learning centers, which are run in the community where the child West speakers or the child laborers live. These children attend these classes, these children attend these sessions, and we work on basically 5 fundamentals. The first one is of course academics. We also work on the life skills. We work on health and hygiene, de-addiction from the substance abuses, because we have witnessed children getting addicted to the substances at a very tender age of 4 to 5. And the intention is to take these children through an informal process and at the end enroll and sustain them into the mainstream schools. So this is one activity where we are running direct centers. We are also, which is a very new activity in that term, where we are partnering with different organizations and individuals who would like to sort of replicate our model into their geographical context. So we have about 5 partnerships this year, where these are the individuals and the initiatives working with the children living in the communities from their geographical context. They come from the rural background, they come from the tribal background. There are also initiatives which are in the tier 1, tier 2 cities of the country. And the idea is to increase that number of participants gradually, so that by the end of maybe 5 to 7 years, we will have a very beautiful ecosystem of learning and support for all these children to cater to their needs.
Okay, thank you, Adwait. Because we do not know, maybe you can find partnership from Indonesian person or community, right? We do not know.
Oh,
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you, Pelumi and Adwait. And now we go to discussion session. But first, I will give opportunity for participants to give response. Respond first, not question. Give response first. Maybe you can share your experience, or maybe you can respond anything. Please raise your hand. I have Salim Jafar. You want to say something? Salim Jafar? Okay.
Thank you very much. You've already given me time. So first of all, I'd like to say tons of thanks for all the people here, especially for 2 presenters. I'm so happy and I'm very proud that I can join this kind of discussion, because the first time you just gave me time or opportunity to give a response. I think my response is absolutely, I do, the response is only extremely fantastic. Both of you that have already explained and already presented, I think I do thank to both of you. And as I told you before, I have to express tons of thanks. But because it is not the time for me to ask the question, so I still save, or I still keep my question. Maybe you can give another time, another opportunity for other participants. Thank you so much.
Okay, you are welcome. Thank you for Salim Jafar. Okay, just give your questions. Okay, I give other opportunity again for other participant to give response. Is there any? Because I see that maybe some lecturers or teachers also join here? Maybe some of you want to respond. If no respond, I will go to question. Okay. Mrs. Siti Mudas, you want to respond? Okay. If no, so we go to discussion session. So I open Q&A. So I will go back again to Salim Jafar because he has a questions. Okay, time is yours to deliver your question, please.
Thank you so much, the host that has already given me time. So actually, I'm a teacher. I'm one of the teachers in Surabaya. And as I told you before, that I'm very proud of being one of the members here, that I can join and I express my positive and also my critical questions, and very important, I've been teaching students by having virtual classes for more than, because Indonesia got the COVID-19 has been already has been already rampant this country from March to September now. One of the most important thing that I have been still searching for, I have been searching high and low, especially how to find the best way to make students always happy. All students now are getting bored to have kind of virtual classes action. So I haven't heard from both of you, from both of the presenters, the best way, the mesmerizing ways to make students happy all the time and to make them active all the time. We have already given them kind of games or something like that. But when we always give them the games, they will also be bored. So would you mind giving me some kind of mesmerizing things to make them always happy? Thank you so much, especially for critical circle. Yeah, I'm so happy that I can be the member here. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, Salim Jafar from Surabaya. I come from Surabaya, Mr. Salim Jafar. Okay, I will give, before I give opportunity for speakers to respond, I want to say thank you very much for all participants who joined here. Welcome to Mrs. Amanah. Welcome, Kak Amanah. Welcome to the discussion. And welcome to Kak Usi. Welcome to the discussion. We hope that you enjoy the discussion. Okay, I give back the time to Pelumi and Adwait to respond. Pelumi first, please.
Yes, thank you, Salim, for your enthusiasm and that great speech about how to make students always happy. It's good to see that the teachers that always want their students' happiness always, right, and first. I do believe that it's hard to always make people happy, even students or whoever it is, for them to be always happy. We are humans and we have ups and downs, and especially now with this COVID, some people are having more downs than ups. So I think, first of all, in my humble opinion, we need to, recognize that and understand that, we can always do our best, but also, everyone cannot be always happy. It's quite difficult, right? Also, you can get into the philosophical debate about happiness, right? But I'm not going to go that direction. So my answer would be, I think you've said it really well, that you try games, try different mechanism, but I think there is an important thing that goes beyond just in the class. It can go to out of the class. So ways of reaching out to this particular student or students that you feel that are less engaging or less active, because it might not be, about the class itself. It might just be something personal issues, whatever it is that's actually bothering them. And until that is not properly addressed, it will be hard for them to engage in what you're doing. So the issue, I think it was Einstein that said, if he had a day to solve a problem, it will spend 99% of his time looking at the problem and then 1%, giving a solution. So maybe the problem here, it's not even the games and the way you facilitate your sessions. I don't know, but I could imagine. But rather, other underlying issues that have to be addressed first. So I think the idea of mentoring in this case is very important, and making the student feel that, you are there as a teacher, or the school or whoever is representing the school is there to support them, and they can approach you with their issues. So if you can create an office hour time, which maybe already exists, you can correct me if I'm wrong, that, you know, they can come to you for that, you know, personal time, that it's not involved with other students, right? They're not in the class and you're not calling on them like, if their name is, let's say, Anna, I'm just inventing, hey, Anna, why are you not participating? Hey, Anna, this, hey, Anna, that. They get tired and get frustrated, because also it's like, why are you always calling on me because I'm not doing something? But rather, you know, create that time where you can individually approach them, to see what's going on, to just, you know, check up on them, just to see what's the issue. This, of course, is more time for you, from you as a teacher, right? It's an extra time you're dedicating to this besides your teaching hours, but it could be just a way to go about it. And then from there, understand what is the issue. And, you know, I don't know what else to advise, because I'm like, okay, it's not about creating more games and being more dynamic and this and that, but maybe just going to the basic of just, you know, seeing what the issue is with the specific students. And then, you know, from there, if they also have this trust, and, you know, they feel that there is a space for them to express themselves, even when they're demotivated, they know that, okay, this professor is actually, or teacher is actually, you know, trying their best. Okay, let me put part of my side too. But it could also be an issue that really, you know, disturbs the concentration. And if you want to change maybe your mechanism, or in terms of the teaching itself, as I said before, you know, you have to kind of like reverse the role. If you make people kind of like, in this sense, I mean, people are students, if you make them I'm not saying making them the teachers, right? But giving them that responsibility of being the one in charge of, you know, in a section, not all the class, of course, of facilitating the session itself, or like, you know, creating a debate or whatever it is. They have to be engaged, because they are being responsible for something in that moment. So that can also boost their activeness, or readiness to, you know, be more active in the class. I might be wrong, but that's just, you know, my humble opinion, as I said. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Filumi. Okay, go to Adwait, please, your response.
Yes, sure. So yes, thank you, Salim, for your question. And I would like to take forward what Falumi has already mentioned. Like, we have to go beyond the classrooms right now. So maybe the couple of practices which we are conducting in India with the students is that we have asked, so apart from the games, we come up with the activities which involve them to get engaged in the surroundings, in the communities in which they live. So maybe if you're talking about the younger kids, we ask them to, if we are basically working on the reading, writing comprehensions, we ask them to use different tools, materials available in the community itself. If we are talking about the elder children, we ask them to go and interview a particular person. We ask them to take an interview of your mother, your father, your brothers. Go to the carpenter living in the community. Go to the small store owner and take their interviews. Understand how they are working, what problems are they facing. So these are some of the practices just which we are conducting right now. One more thing which we have seen that which has work a lot in our case is that, so in India, there have been some like there is a practice now where people are creating a Google groups of the children who are in particular in a classroom or in a class. Now the issue is that the the group settings are always in a way that only admin can send a message, and in that process, children somehow felt a bit of left out. That is it like that I don't have an opinion, or I need to wait for a particular period or a moment to get back to my teacher and talk to them about my problem. So what we did is we kept the groups open for all the children for all the time. Anybody can type anything, anybody can post the problems, anybody can. We also reduces the restriction about particular completing a particular activity in a particular time. So maybe, as I said, that most of the children do not have the smartphones in a daytime. So they get the phone when the parent come back at home. So whenever they can come back at home, they can go to the WhatsApp, check the activity, do the activity at their convenience, and post that into the WhatsApp group. So like that, this the COVID has basically created a lot of tensions for the people from all the age groups. I mean, those who are going into the offices have to sit in front of the screens for all the time now. Those who The children who are in the schools have to sit in front of the laptop or the top computer screens for all the time, and it somehow makes them a bit unhappy, that somehow irritated also. As Falumi said, that if the teacher says that why you're not doing a particular homework, why you're not attending the classes, So if we give them a freedom and a convenience, I think it will help to keep them happy.
Okay,
Yes.
finish?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, Adwait. Okay, thank you, Adwait. And now we go to the next question. So again, welcome to Kak Yuda Irlang. Welcome to the discussion. If you want to give any response, dear all participants, just open your mic and say something. But before that, I go to the next questions. Do you still have energy, Pelumi and Adwait?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Okay, go to the next questions. The question comes from Ava. So, yeah, for you who have a established community or legalized NGO, maybe it's quite easy for you to health agenda or program because you can collaborate it to other institutions. But what about me, for example, just an individual, ordinary person, I don't have community, for example. So after I know the problem, so what can we do? What can we do, for example? So do you have any strategy for common person or people? What can we do to respond this kind of issue? Please, Adwait first.
Yes, sure. So, when all this pandemic started, we got a call from some of the very enthusiastic people who were willing to volunteer to basically. Right now, the important part is about the education. So we have some of the volunteers. Like we have a volunteer from Kuwait and Muscat. She teach in the school in Muscat, and she was willing to teach our kids in India through the Zoom calls. So she was basically helping us to reach out to the more kids. It is also particularly very important because right now what happened is, if you are in the classroom, a single teacher can basically work with about 10 to 15 kids at a time. The ratio is a bit higher in terms of this schools in India, like where the teacher teach about a classroom of about 70 children at a time. But in the age, because we have an organization setup, informal setup, a teacher caters to about 15 children. But now when we are going online, the number even reduces a bit, because now it is not possible to work with these 15 children, because there is a bit of time in which you get involved. So we need people who can basically collaborate, volunteer to teach different not only about academics. If you know a particular art, come and teach the art. If you know
Adwait. Okay, so
I
maybe
lost him for a second.
yeah. Okay, just go to follow me. Okay, please follow me.
Yeah, so if I understood the question correctly, it's how individuals, like you use the word normal, common people um, can also contribute to helping in this during this time, right? Is that correct?
Yep.
To make sure I understood the
a
question.
particular skill, come and teach the skill to the kids.
Wait a minute. Hello,
Uh,
Adwait. Adwait.
Yes, yeah.
Okay,
Am I
okay.
audible?
Continue. Okay, wait a
Yeah,
minute.
so
Follow
yeah,
me.
yes.
Because we lost you for a second, so I don't.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If
sorry.
you
As
could
we said earlier, like the internet is not evenly distributed in all parts of the country, so
Yeah.
I keep losing signal.
Okay, please.
Yeah, so as I was saying, that we need people to collaborate, to volunteer, not only in terms of academics, but also if you have a particular skill, if you know a particular art form, if you know anything and which you want to share with the kids, please do join. Not only in India, but maybe even in your country, where there are the children who are less privileged, who comes from the economical background, and the organizations who are catering to those children, actively reach out to them, talk to them, and see how you can get engaged, because there is a lot of things we can do right now and which are very important in the current times. Yes, thank you.
Example, Adwait. Can you give it
Yes.
concrete example?
Yes, sure. So like the one example I said, that we have a volunteer for Muscat who teach English to our 9th and 10th graders. We have a volunteer from Kuwait who worked with our staff as a capacity building exercise. So she conducted a series of workshops with the team for different skills, for different art forms. Like we also had a workshop on life skills by one of our mentors who lives in the another city. We also had a workshop by basically one of the volunteer who wanted to teach an art form, who wanted to teach painting to the kids. So there are different things which we can do. And in India, there are a number of organizations which are in dire need of the volunteers, of people actively getting engaged. A language could be a barrier, but of course English is now a sort of a global language, has become a global language, so we can at least use that as an medium of interaction and reach out to the kids.
Okay, so Adwait, I go to the point. So, are you willing to open collaboration with Indonesian community? Maybe because you mentioned about workshops. How are you willing to open collaboration?
Sure, we would love to. I mean, it could be an even two-way collaboration. Like if you guides can come up with a certain idea which you can teach to our kids or maybe our team, and we have certain resources which we can share with you.
Okay,
So
including the
maybe
human resource.
yes, even including the human resource. Yeah, why not? I mean, this is how we will move ahead.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
Maybe you can share how if there is a participant who want to reach you, how to reach you. Maybe you can share inside the chat room, maybe, Adwait.
Sure. I'll message my email ID,
Yes.
and we'll also share the Facebook page of the organization. So if they need any other information, they can go to a page, scroll down, and they can see the different activities happening in last couple of months. If
Okay.
it is okay.
Okay, thank you. You can go to the
Thank you.
chat room and I go to Palumi now. Okay, please Palumi. So sorry.
No. It's interesting to hear you guys. Yeah, so I think Adwait has said a lot. I think I'll make mine short. I was just thinking because I think the question is coming from maybe people thinking, okay, how can I contribute? What can I do, right? I mean, the first question is to kind of like assess what exactly is your interest, right? Because I think there's a lot of things you can contribute to. So you have to narrow it down to what exactly you see your strength as Adwait said. Is it teaching? Is it supporting? Is it more technical? Whatever it is that you're good at, or you would also like to learn more about. It doesn't have to be something you're actually only good at. Sometimes you can collaborate and contribute to things that just because you have an interest in it and you might not be good per se, you can still collaborate, because what matters is the time dedicated to what you want to do and to support the existing systems. So I guess in your community, I'm not that familiar with Indonesia, but I am sure in your local community, even in the country as a whole, bigger, right? There are always organizations that exist, even like this one right now, or hosting this different type of debates as I know. And you can support either. There's so many ways to support. It doesn't have to be always, oh, I am on the field, working on the ground, but it can be backstage support. There's so many ways to just, give your time to aid, whatever is necessary. And also what I believe is, trying to kind of like diversify also instead of like duplicating efforts. So try to see, where help is really necessary, because sometimes a lot of help is clustered around one area and then other places don't have enough support for what they need. I don't know what are the specific critical issues in Indonesia, but as you said, from today's debate, I can imagine education, especially now with the COVID, or even health, or food, or I don't know exactly, to be precise, I'm just guessing, but just identify these key areas and then see where you think, okay, this is interesting to me, not only because I'm able to give and to give my time and commit and help, but also because whatever I'm going to be doing here will also be part of my learning process, and it contributes to you as a, or not only as a citizen of your country, but also to your capacity and skills, right, related to what you're doing. So in a specific volunteer job that relates to organizing events, well, you're already honing your organization skills, if it's related to even teaching, communication skills. So just see it as a double way thing where you are giving, but also you are gaining from that experience. I don't know if that helps with the question, but that would be my take.
Okay. Thank you, Palumi. Okay. We still have one more question. So here, just try to answer as you can. So this is from Athena La Vega. So in your opinion, how long the student should be in front of the screen in terms of synchronous learning? Palumi, you wanna respond?
Yeah, I mean, it's like how long? I don't want to be an authoritative figure here because I don't know what would be the recommended one, right? Everyone is different, so I think that should be taken into account. But with the synchronous learning, I mean, I don't know how many hours they teach in Indonesian schools. I'm guessing. Give me an approximate hours they teach per day online. How many hours, if you know?
Maybe just one hour, 2 hours, if I'm not mistaken.
1 or 2
Maybe
hours per day.
Mr. Salim, you wanna give us response? How long do you teach your students usually?
Sorry. Actually, I only teach my student per day 30 or 40 minutes. In the pandemic situation, I only teach them 30 minutes
30 minutes.
for each subject. For each subject.
Okay. Thank
So
you,
that's
Mr.
a total of how many hours per day in total?
In total, actually, in the great situation, I mean, in normal situation, we usually start studying from 6:30 until 3 o'clock p.m. But in the pandemic, we start studying from 7 until 11:30 or 12. And it, I mean, one day consists of 5 or 4 subjects. So we don't want to force students to study in front of the screen, something so, very hard for them.
Yes. Yeah, so I'm calculating, if you say 7 to 11, kind of like almost 5 hours or something like that. Yeah, I mean, I think I wouldn't dare honestly to say, how many hours they should be studying because it definitely depends on the person, and the decision should be like, you need to consider every student, especially now where there are more difficulties related to studying online. So I think that the best option is to provide as much as possible asynchronous, so recorded versions of the class also, so that students can always access them in their convenient time, but also create a space where they know that they have to do it and they're encouraged to go to the recordings, because otherwise you cannot really ensure that they will do it, and then they will definitely be losing on the learnings, and that would impact their overall performance. So in terms of how many hours, I don't want to say a specific hours, but I guess it's more about if it's going to be 5 hours, and then there's a class of 30 minutes, right, approximately, according to what Mr. Salim has said. So 30 minutes, 30 minutes, well, it feels more compact, and then they have a rest. It's very important to have rest in between and not just make it like, all together. But I wouldn't know how many hours specifically. I don't know if Adwait has a better opinion about that.
Okay, thank you, Palumi. Now go to Adwait, please.
Yes, I mean, I totally resonate with what Palumi said. There is no correct answer. There have been certain guidelines, basically, which have been provided by different organizations working on the child development, which talk about the screen time a child should have. When in a particular age group, I think we should basically look at that opportunity. If you're asking
Hello,
about my
Adwait.
opinion, I mean,
Okay.
a class of 30 in current times, actually. I mean, hello. Yeah.
Yeah.
Am I
We
audible?
can
Yes.
hear.
Okay, yeah. So, as I said, that there have been certain guidelines which are being issued by the different organizations working on the child development, not only in terms of the about the screening hours, not only in terms about what are the basic screen hours a child should have so that it cannot damage its view sight or the eyesight, but also about the how much time a child should get so that it cannot affect his overall his or her overall improvement development. So we should, I think, follow that side. In our case, we consider that 30 to 40 minute session per day is quite enough. Conduct a session, give an activity, move ahead. But I mean, even in India, the schools are conducting sessions for 5 hours, 6 hours a day. Uh, Unfortunately, if there was no pandemic, children would have had summer vacations. But now, because all this online condition, they get holiday for just 8 days in the summers. So it's difficult to move ahead in some sort of situation, in this sort of situation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Pelumi and Adwait. The last question. Sorry for force you to stay here a couple minutes. Okay, the last questions. Dear participants, any of you who want to give a response before we close the discussion? Okay, Simnon. Okay, I go to the last questions. Okay, this is the basic questions, yeah, for mothers around the world. So how, if we, for example, if we are the mother, what should we do, especially for the parents, right? You know, as I said before about the case where a mother killed the daughter, based on your perspective or opinion, what can you suggest for a mother how to teach the children at home? Okay, please, Lumi first.
Make me go first.
Okay, yeah,
This
please.
is it's a very difficult and, as I said, very unfortunate, heartbreaking thing to even imagine, right? I don't even know how to express, what would be the solution. It's very difficult because I think it goes beyond just the fact that she was maybe frustrated with the child not doing the homework. I don't know the story, I don't know the situation, but I believe there's something underlying that goes beyond just the fact that the child did not do the homework. Some mental situations going on. Some issues that are just related to maybe with the pandemic or the family situation, domestic issues. I don't know the case. So it's really, really unfortunate. But let's say in a normal scenario where it's just about the parent or the mother in this case getting tired or frustrated about teaching on the child. I mean, as we know, parents sometimes can be teachers, but in this case they are forced to be teachers because the kids don't have their teachers with them in person, right? So the advice, how to better do this, the parents, also the mother in this case, need also better resources for themselves, right? Because sometimes even some parents, because of so many years they've gone to school, they don't even remember. Even after school, there's something that I don't remember from primary school because it's been such a long time. So it would require me even to refresh my memory on that to be able to teach someone else because I don't remember. So I can only imagine for a parent who hasn't been in school for a long time because they've been in the workforce for the past 20 to 30 years, and how do they teach the kids, right? So now I think the government, or just the centers in charge of learning in this case, should not only focus on providing materials and resources for teachers and the student, but also the parents, because now the parents have taken the role of teachers, and they're instructing their kids from home. And also it's hard. We have to understand that you're balancing two things at the same time: your family responsibilities as a woman, because you have to do many things, right? Taking care of the house, getting the children ready for the day, and whatever else you have to do, and also trying to teach the children at the same time. And of course, if you're working your job, so the whole burden falls upon one person, which is a lot. So I don't know in this case how the Indonesian society is. I would have to learn more, so forgive me if I'm mistaken. But also the weight should be shared between the two parents, right? It's not only the mother's job, it's also the father's job. So in this case, both are responsible for their children, and they should find a way of balance, to divide this labor, because we're all humans. And if you get to a burnout process, burning out is not, it's not good for anyone. It just leads to radical consequences, as has happened with this. lady you are telling me about. So in a nutshell, divide the labor, make it, as equitable as possible. And, the resources should also be addressed to parents specifically, so they can also know how to teach their children. Yeah. And also if parents can just, detach this learning thing and just also try to have fun with their kids so that it releases this burden of, we're learning, because kids also get tired to see their parents in these two roles of, this is my parents, but right now this is also my teacher, which most kids are not used to, Yeah.
Is there any specific treatment that the UK people do to treat their students at home, Palumi?
In the UK, the
Yeah.
parents, is there any specific thing they do?
Uh-uh. To throw away the board thing. Is that or same?
Throw away the burden, is that what you said?
The boring
Ah,
condition.
the boring. Okay, to remove the boring aspects of learning, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh wow. I don't know if it's like very specific to the UK alone. I guess it also depends on the family's, I guess, income and capacity to be able to kind of like outsource this work, right? If you are higher income, of course, you can just contract a tutor, right, to help you.
Private tutor.
Yes, right, which not everybody can do.
Yeah.
So that would be the most common one. But those that do not have that or cannot afford that, you have to be the tutor for your kid. So in that case, I mean, since it's your kid, you can find a mechanism to make your kid listen to you, right? But it also it's very stressful, I guess, because it's overwhelming. I think the ones that do the best is when the kid itself or him or herself is already quite independent, and then you're just serving as a support, not rather than just teaching. But when they're also smaller, you have to be more on them. But I think every parent has their own way. But I think integrating this aspect of fun and reminding the child that you're their parents, right? But you are here to support them is very important. But I think I'm very vague in this sense, but it's very difficult also. I'm just imagining with my mom and my sisters, because I have little sisters, as I said, and you have to repeat the same thing all the time, and it gets tiring also. But so you can see now that teachers are doing a great job. Until the pandemic happened, we know that wow, teachers are very important.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Okay, we see that. Okay, thank you. Palumi, after this, you go to the closing statement, but I go to Adwait first. Okay? Adwait, please, your response
Yeah.
for the
So
same question.
the fellow me has covered almost all the points. So I'll just keep it very crisp and talk about the Indian context. So even in India, it is considered that it's the mother's responsibility to raise a child. I mean, if anything goes wrong, people start blaming the mother. But then there is a saying that it needs an entire village to raise a one child. So it's not a responsibility of a mother, but of the both parents equally, like Falumi had said. So I think both should work hand in hand. Now, in the time where all of the people are at home, they should divide the responsibilities of the household chores as well as the academics. And the one more thing is that it's okay. I mean, for the parents, I would like to say that it's completely fine if your child meets couple of sessions. I mean, it's not going to
Hello,
affect a
Adwait.
lot in his or her
yeah, let's
future.
give him a second.
So
I'm
I
sure
think
he's going to be back.
Okay, it seems that we have to. Okay. Okay,
hello.
Adwait.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Continue.
the internet is unstable. Yeah. So I think I mean I would like to say that it's completely fine if your child meets couple of sessions. I mean it's not going to affect a lot in his or her future. So just give them a space, give them a freedom. I've recently read an article which had said that there are only two things which will help us to survive, and these are love and compassion. So if we have love and compassion for our kids, for our neighbors, for the people living in our community, then of course we will survive this situation. So I think it works for for all of us. Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you. You're welcome, Adwait. Okay, now we go to the closing statement. Okay, so Palumi, would you like to deliver your closing statement, your message for all of us here? And Adwait, you'll prepare for that. But I go to Palumi first, please.
Yeah, I mean, again, to thank you all for creating the time to join this session. I hope that it has been an interesting conversation to just learn more. I've learned a lot from the Indian perspective, a lot of things I didn't know, and also from Indonesia, and a bit, from like the European one, which has, of course, its challenges, but I think there are less challenges, of course, in comparison to many developing countries, right? But in a nutshell, it's just, I think Adwait's last sentence was perfect regarding love and compassion, because it is a difficult time, and we all are like struggling, and we don't even know when this is gonna end, and we just want, it's like, when is this nightmare gonna be over, right? Everyone is just looking forward to a day where we can go back to normal, right? I mean, the previous time. But it seems that even if we go back to normal, that normal is not going to be the same. But what we can, kind of like do in our own means, I think people ask the question as individuals, right? Contributing more to organizations, we can do that. Us as individuals, as parents, or as just students ourselves, how do we try to manage it? But I think it's very important to also seek support, because many times we try to manage things on our own, and it's not easy. It's better to have, in this case, a teacher who can also be like a counselor and be a voice to you, to listen to your issues as a student. We have to use those support systems, and also even the teachers themselves need support themselves, because they're not only support to students, but they also need support from professionals that can also help them deal with this difficult situation. And I think, going back to my previous my introduction, where I talked about, we have to think, if in case of teachers or instructors, going beyond the traditional system, because the traditional way maybe was working for in-person, face-to-face instruction, even though it had its own difficulties, right? Education has been criticized over and over again for the longest time, even before the pandemic. But now with the pandemic, we have to now go a bit more and beyond, to be definitely deliver um, resources and academic instruction to students that will really help them, learn and engage and be active in their learning, and not, lose more, which would then impact their overall performance, but not only like in terms of grades, but also their cognitive understanding, their skills, right? And the things that are necessary for them to learn. And thank you everyone for the great job you do. And I hope we will stay connected. Thank you for your time. Yeah.
You're welcome. Thank you, Pelumi. Go to Adwait, please.
Yes. Yes. The first of all, thank you to you, Tree, and the Critical Circle for inviting us to share the learnings, experiences, observations from India with the rest of the world. Thank you, Fellomi, for joining. I mean, it gave a very interesting perspective about the European culture and an education system. Uh, uh, I mean, I guess I've covered so many things in the last couple of hours we are talking about. I'll just like to say that thanks to all the participants, and I wish that you guys will take care, be safe, be compassionate to each other. And I like to quote Gandhi again, that let's think about the poorest of the poor and make sure that they are also with us, holding hands in hands when we'll enter into a new reality. So yes, thank you. Thanks a lot for
Okay.
inviting me. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, so dear participants, before I close the discussion, well, first of all, on behalf of Critical Circle and personally, I say thank you very much for Pelumi and Atwait who want to share your time. Pelumi, sorry to disturb your early time there. Early time. I believe that you haven't got your breakfast. Am I right? Yeah, okay. Thank you very much for your willingness, valuable information and knowledge and experience, Lumi and Atwait. That first, and I also want to say thank you very much for all participants from other countries, not only from Indonesia, but also from India and maybe other countries that I do not know, and all seniors and mentors who have join the discussion. I cannot mention one by one, and I'm so sorry if I cannot mention all questions because of the limited time. And I want to say that by having this discussion, at least now we do realize that the difficult time, the hard time of online systems, not only in Indonesia, but also in other countries such as European country, in this case, the UK and also India. Well, maybe there is a participant who say that maybe we can say that the condition in Indonesia is better than India because uh, in here in Indonesia we don't have a big number of suicide children, but maybe suffering children, yes, but not suicides. So for you guys as a teachers or parents, yeah, we hope critical circle hope that after listening to all explanation, we can motivate each other and we can go back to our great spirit to teach, to make our education live again. Because before joining this discussion, maybe we think that it seems that we don't have any future because for 2020 generation, many people say that there is no good future because in this year almost all education classes are on online, and of course it is so different with in a real activity, right? But yeah, after having many suggestion, many strategy for you guys the speakers, we hope that we can create a better learning system. Okay, we do realize that nobody is expert in this case, but at least we can learn to create a better condition of our online learning system. Okay, so the last again, I thank you very much for all speakers, Pelumi and Adwait. So sorry if I have any mistakes in word to you and all participants who have joined the discussion. Again, thank you very much, and yeah, keep in touch. Thank you very much from UK, from India. Again, thank you very much, and I hope that we can see again, interact again in other discussion. Okay, I close the discussion. Good afternoon here. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. See you next time, guys. Have a nice Sunday there. Okay. Helumi and Atwait, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Sorry,
Waalaikumsalam.
get the condition better, Atwait.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Yes,
Bye.
thank you very much, Atwait.
And
Thank
bye.
you for others. Thank you very much for others, for all participants.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Kak Amana,
Keep
thank
safe
you,
and
Kak.
healthy.
From East Java participants.
Hello,
From
we are
Madura.
here in Surabaya.
Yeah, from Surabaya. Thank you very much, Mr. Salim,
Thank you
for
very much, Mr.
joining.
Salim.
Yeah, you
From
are very
Surabaya.
welcome. Please, when you have another session or another Google Meet or
Yes.
Zoom meeting, would you mind inviting me?
Have you registered
Sure.
the registration link?
Already. I have already
Okay.
registered, but only for the registration.
Yeah.
But for about the link of
Certificate.
certificate, I couldn't enter it.
Okay. Mr. Salim, thank you very much for your participation.
You're very welcome.
See you next time, Mr. Salim.
See you.
Kak Usi, thank you. Kak Siti Mudas, thank you very much. Syekh Tehsin, thank you very much. Pranalis,
Dan Bu Yuda Irlan juga.
thank you very much. Kak Yuda sudah tidak ada di grup lagi.
Oh, sudah lah.
Thank you very much, guys, for Sofa, Haki. Thank you for all support. Zeriadi Pratama, thank you very much, but you come late. From for Sofa, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for our hosts.
Yeah, for all team of Critical Circle, Ulfa, Eva, Mbak Sisin, thanks a lot
Great.
for your great job today. Kak Amana, thank you, Kak, for your participation. Formahes Josie, thank you very much. Atla, thank you very much. Vio, thank you. Kak Ridwan Agustian, thank you.
Amana, thank you very much for coming.
Kak
Thank you